Hello, everybody, and welcome to my very first Kong film episode. And yeah, so just like a few weeks ago, I just finished the last Godzilla podcast episode with the guys of Terror of Mechagodzilla. And now, before I get to the Heisei era next, I would like to talk about the classic Kong film, King Kong Escapes from 1967. And we have a very surprise guest on here, and you probably know her from the film that she plays the beauty who charmed the beast. Please welcome the one and only Susan Watson herself, Linda Miller.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, Linda. How's it going? And
It's going great. How about you?
I've been doing good, and I'm really looking forward to this special podcast film episode with you. And and yeah, like you're the main star in King Kong Escapes, and
hmm Well,
yeah.
no, King Kong was the main star. I was just one of the others.
well, you well, you did play the beauty who charmed the beast, and
That's true. Yeah.
so, yeah, yeah, this is a really special episode we're be doing, and we actually met each other at G-Fest back in 2016.
hmm Yeah, that was my, let's see, that was my fourth convention. I went to my first convention to Chiller in 2015. Then we went to Japan. Then we went to Monster Palooza in Pasadena, and then G Fest. So G
Wow.
Fest, was great because everybody there was a Godzilla or a King Kong fan. So I enjoyed G Fest a lot.
Oh yeah, and I'm also a King Kong and Godzilla fan too, and yeah, it
Yeah.
was I was really excited to meet you at G-Fest, and yeah, we actually have a picture together, and here it is right here.
Yep,
Yep,
that's right.
yep, that was way before I did this show.
That was like 7 years ago, actually. That's how long ago it was, which
Yep.
is a long time.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
that was before I have my channel and right before I did this show, and also we have a guest in the comments, and hello Joseph, and
Hello from Vegas.
yeah, like I've always wanted to go to Vegas.
Oh, I love Vegas. I used to live in Los Angeles, and it was about a 4-hour drive. And my friends and I sometimes would just say, "Oh, let's go to Vegas this weekend." So it's a fun place, and there's all different kinds of fun. You don't have to gamble to have fun because they've got so many shows and restaurants and activities. It's one of my favorite places.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I wish I could go to Vegas someday, and that,
hmm
and so yeah,
Don't go
so
in the summer. Don't go in the summertime though. It's really hot
oh yeah, because this is in the middle of nowhere, and
in the desert. Yeah.
but anyway, like so I've been looking forward to talk about this classic film with you, and I remember that I first discovered this film when it was released on DVD with the double package with along with King Kong versus Godzilla, and yeah, when it was released on DVD back in 2005 when the Peter Jackson's King Kong
hmm
film was released.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
There's been
remember.
a lot of King Kongs.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I got this film for I got it from Christmas that one of my family members gave me when I was a kid. I think I was 9 years old when I first got it.
Mm,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was.
So
Yeah,
so
and
you and
it was.
I'm sorry. There's a little bit of a delay here.
That's okay. Oh, that's okay, Linda. And yeah, so and also over the years, I've been trying to do some research that I'm surprised that this film was never released on VHS in America back then before it was
Oh,
released on DVD.
uh-huh. Well, when I came back from Japan, it was on TV a lot at that time, like at Thanksgiving and things like that. And my cousin actually recorded it on a VHS and sent it to me. But it was really poor quality. But
Oh,
yeah, I never had a copy of the film or anything until after it came out on DVD and then Blu-ray. So um, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I had the Blu-ray version of it, and I just watched it like the other day, and also that I it that I have finally watched the original Japanese version on the internet, and I gotta say, Linda, that I really love the Japanese cut better than the
Okay.
US dub version because the original is like the extended version of it because it has more
Mm.
scenes that is never shown in the dub version, and yeah, yeah. So I kind of like the original version better, and
The only time I ever saw the Japanese version was when we had the premiere in Tokyo after the film came out. I think it was like maybe September of 1967, and we were in a big movie theater, in downtown Tokyo. And that was the first and last time I ever saw the Japanese version. So now I'm thinking I'd like to go back and see what scenes they left in compared to the American version. And I
wow.
have to say the Japanese version, I like the voice that they used for me in Japanese. I liked her voice much more than the American version.
Oh yeah, because yeah, when I watched the original a week ago, I mean,
Uh-huh.
when I listened to the Japanese dubbing of you, I mean, I gotta say it's just so adorable, especially when your cat is saying, "Yeah, Colin, put me down." I
Yeah.
thought that was more adorable than the English dub version.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I thought her voice sounded more natural than the American version, which to me sounded like a cartoon, and I hated it actually. I still hate it.
yeah, I mean, like, like, do you remember who did the Japanese dubbing of you? Because I didn't do any research
Oh,
about that.
yeah. Brett Humnick, who was the first person who got in contact with me and told me, what was going on with the kaiju fans. And he sent me a picture of the woman that dubbed my voice, and I don't remember her name, but he had run into her because he lives in Tokyo. And so he ran into her and he sent me a picture of her, which was really, really nice.
Oh, that's that's so eh, yeah. So I like, and I just is so I just noticed like I know the two cut versions. I mean, I know like the original had the original Toho logo, and the US has the
Mm,
Universal logo because Universal bought the rights to it, and also
yeah.
Reckon Bass did too. And it's
Yeah, it
too
was a co-production.
yeah, and it's too bad we never officially have the original cut on Blu-ray in America. Like
Mm,
it's too bad when they'll never release this in the US, the original
yeah.
Japanese. I mean, yeah, but instead the only thing you can watch it is on the internet, and
Mm.
but it's
Well,
on
at least you can watch it there. That's a good thing.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, if you want to watch the original, I could really send it to you after the live stream. I mean,
Okay. Yes, if you would, I would enjoy that because I would like to see it because it's been what, 60, how many? Oh, it's been a long time, like
well,
65 years or something.
well, we are in the year 2023, and
I
the
know.
film
I
was
know.
yeah. So like you know, so I know the one scene in the at the end of the at the fight scene when Kong was fighting Mechanikong on top of the
Oh,
tower. I mean, I just know the two cut versions. I just noticed like they rearranged some scenes and they trim out some parts, and then I did it. I mean, I noticed in the U.S. cut. I mean, I just know they rearranged some scenes, and you can tell by the music it's just out
mhm.
of tracked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's hard to say because I can't remember the original version, and it's been so long ago since I did the film, I don't remember everything about it to be truthful, because it was so
Mhm.
long ago.
Uh, but don't worry, Lena. But yeah, your AP will always remember of the film. it,
I have I have mine too.
yeah,
Whoops,
even if you know this figure is from King Kong versus Godzilla, and
uh-huh.
yeah,
I don't
so
know what this one's from, but a fan made this and sent it to me. So
aw, I
yeah, I get nice presents from the fans.
if you want, I could send you some of my fan art for as a present someday in the
Okay.
future.
Yes, that would be very nice.
Yeah, I always do fan arts for my fans and friends and family too,
Yeah.
and yeah. So, but anyway, so let's let's talk about the exciting part. How did you get the part of the film? So tell me how it
Okay.
all began.
Okay. My dad was in the Air Force, so he was stationed in Japan. And when I went there, I got involved in modeling. And I had a contract for the cover of a weekly young woman's magazine, kind of like 17 magazine here in the States. And so there was another American and myself. We every other week we would be on the magazine cover, and sometimes we'd be together. So I got a phone call out of the blue, and I don't know how he got my number, but I got a phone call from Arthur Rankin, and he said he was making a movie here in Japan, or there in Japan, and that he would like to talk to me about being in his movie. And it was a complete surprise. It was exciting. It was a complete surprise, and and I said to him, "Well, I'm not an actress. I don't know how to act." And he said, "That's okay. I still want to talk with you anyway." Excuse me. So we met up for dinner in Tokyo, and he explained the movie, and he said, "I'd really like you to play the part of Susan Watson." And I honestly thought he was a little bit crazy, because why would you want to, hire somebody in such an important role who's never acted and has no idea how to even get started? So we met probably a total of maybe 3 times before I agreed to do it. And I told him that if I ruined the movie, I warned him, so he can't be mad at me. So that's how I got the part. It was completely unexpected. I didn't even know they were doing a film of any kind. So, it's the right place at the right time, you know.
Wow. So King Kong Escapes was your first film that you're
Yes,
in.
yes.
Wow.
Because prior to that, all I did was modeling, like magazine, and I did a couple TV commercials, but like 30-second commercials. One was for Canon camera, and one was a toothpaste commercial. And so that's not acting. You know what I'm saying? So that was my only experience. And I asked him, I said, "Arthur, why do you want me in your movie?" And he said, "Because in my mind, you look like Susan Watson, so I want you to play that part." So,
Oh.
you know,
Aw.
just one of those times in your life when something wonderful happens and you have no idea why. Yeah.
Oh, like yeah, it's like I mean that's how I felt too. If I want to make my own movie, if I see like if one of my old friends from high school or somewhere, that if I see one of my friends on a like a little magazine or like a prom queen, I mean,
Yeah,
like I picture them, like I definitely want to have one of my friends from high school to play this role of in my
yeah,
film. Even
yeah.
though
Because you have in your mind you're you're imagining this person, and then you see someone who looks exactly like what you're imagining. So I can understand that.
yeah, and yeah, like and it's amazing story you shared there. I didn't know
Yeah.
you were like a model back then. It was
Mhm.
yeah, and
And models don't move. I mean, they move and then they take a picture and they move. So models don't have this continuing flowing thing, you know. And when you act, it's just so different, so different, you know, and so
yeah, and
scary.
yeah. So right after you got the call and from Arthur and
Yeah.
everything, I mean, so did like yeah, so did you actually went to Japan that time after you got the call or
No, I was already living there. I had been living there for almost 2 years when we started the film because of my father being in the Air Force. He was stationed there. So I lived in Japan. I worked in Tokyo a lot. Spoke decent, not great, but decent Japanese. So um, everything, I was very comfortable in my life over there. I really love Japan. Japan is an awesome place,
hmm, yeah, like
especially if you're a foreigner.
I have never been to Japan in my whole life. I mean, I really wish I could go there because uh, yeah, yeah, sometimes traveling halfway around the world it could be difficult. I mean,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and yeah,
But
so
when um, I went back in January 2016, and I met up with Takarada-san and Nakajima-san, and we did a convention one weekend together. And it had been over 50 years, or about 50 years, since I had left Japan. So going back 50 years later, everything was different. It looked like New York City to me because the buildings were tall, and Tokyo always had a lot of light, you know, because
oh
it never
yeah,
sleeps. But it just was so different to me. And what I also noticed that the younger people were much taller. They were taller than I am. And when I was there, I was everybody's height, you know?
wow. Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
Japan has
So,
made a so yeah, Japan has made a few changes over the years. I mean, and
yes, they
then
have.
I mean that's why they made Godzilla eight from 50 feet tall to 80 meters tall for the
Mm,
Heisei area, and
mm,
yeah, that's why because buildings and skyscrapers got much
yes,
taller over the years.
yes. Yeah, it reminded me of New York City, a clean New York City, because Japan is clean. It's not like our dirty cities here.
Yeah, and and I was just so yes. So I was surprised when you after you actually got the role that you said
Uh-huh.
that you were living in Japan because your dad was in the military, and I was imagining like in the film of your character, that means your character is also a lieutenant. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I sort of get it now because I think that's why they made your character into a commander lieutenant character
Uh-huh.
because of your dad because he
Maybe.
was in the yeah
Yeah.
I just imagine it. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean like right after the film was made. I mean, did your dad like ever yeah, did your dad like watch the film after it was
Oh yeah.
released?
Oh yeah, we went to Tokyo when they had the premiere in I think September of '67. My family and I went to the theater, and you know, watched it, and it was quite amazing. It's amazing to watch yourself on film because you don't look the way you think you look. You know, you don't sound the way you think you sound, and you don't act the way you think you act. So when you see yourself on the film, it's I don't really like it. Don't like watching myself on camera
Yeah.
because it just feels weird, you know. It feels
Yeah,
weird.
I kind of know how that feels. I mean, I get a little nervous watching myself on TV when the time
Yeah,
my parents recorded me for their home video.
yeah.
Yeah, and you like I remember what you said that you don't like the English dub that they did of
The
you.
voice, the voice I don't like.
Yeah, yeah, but you like the Japanese dub that they did.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, the girl that they had for to dub my voice into Japanese was really good. Um, it could have been my voice. You know what I'm saying? It was
yeah,
compatible. But what they did in the American version, God, that was awful. That
yeah.
was awful. That voice.
I feel sorry for you, Linda.
Oh,
Yeah,
don't feel sorry for me.
yeah. I just wish we couldn't hear your real voice. But
Yeah,
instead they have Rose Reason that overdubbed him.
right.
Yeah,
Well, the difference between Rhodes and I was was a member of the Screen Actors Guild because he was a professional actor. So
yeah,
he was a member of Screen Actors Guild. So his contract was originated in America. My contract was with Toho, and I didn't know it. I knew nothing. So it was never in my contract that I would dub my own voice. Whereas with Rhodes, it definitely was
uh,
because he had a union contract. So, you know, all of that's in hindsight. If I would have known, I would have made sure that it was in, you know, contractually obligated to use my voice, but they didn't. So if
hmm.
I don't know what Arthur Rankin's thought was, but I know he's passed. But if I had ever seen him again, I would have punched him. Like, what the heck did you think you were doing?
Yeah, well,
What's the matter with you?
yeah. Well, what I heard that some people don't even like hearing their own voices on
Yeah,
TV,
yeah. It's
including
weird.
me.
It's
I mean,
weird.
yeah, including me. I remember when I was a kid. I know I already told you that mom and I my mom recorded me for her home videos.
Uh-huh.
Every time she puts it on, I've always afraid of watching myself and hearing my own voice, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
always walked out of the room, and because
yeah.
even a few years back even when I still make home videos, my parents recorded me like in today, but I'm still
Mhm.
afraid of hearing my own voice. But for now, I'm not afraid of hearing my voice anymore. I'm used to it. I
Yeah.
I love hearing my own voice, especially when I'm
Oh,
doing a podcast.
oh, good for you. Um, yeah, I just think hearing your own voice is so weird because it sounds nothing like what I hear when I'm talking. What I hear in my head, it doesn't sound like my voice when I like play it back um, on a recorder of some kind. Yeah, it's just weird. I think everybody feels that way.
Yeah, and also when his so whereas how does it feel to be in the animatronic hand of Kong? Like,
Uncomfortable.
really? Wait, you said comfortable or uncomfortable?
Uncomfortable.
Oh, it's a oh
It, it,
that
it, it wasn't well padded, so it was like hard and not bony, but that's the only thing I can think. It was not a smooth place to sit. I mean, it wasn't horrible or anything, but it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't something that you could lay down and go to sleep and take a nap. Um,
oh
but yeah, it was a huge hand, against, back then they were green screens, I think. And anyway, it was a huge hand. And then they would get me in it. I'd get up on a ladder and get in it, and then they would raise the hand up and shoot the scenes like that.
Oh, so how far high?
How high?
Like is this just a few inch high or just?
No. It was probably 5, 6 feet off the ground by the time I sat it and they raised it up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's how Fay Ray, the original, and Daryl from the original King Kong must know what it felt like. I mean,
because when they raised you up, then the camera was raised too, and it was kind of shooting down, like looking down at the hand. Because if I were on the ground, them shooting up, they wouldn't see anything. So they had it from the point of view of looking down at Kong's hand, and there I was.
And also, I know that Haruo Nakajima, who played Kong, he also, but he's also the original Godzilla, and
yes, he was.
I mean, what's it like to hang out with him since he played Kong in this film?
I hate to disappoint you, but I only met him one time by chance. All of his stuff was shot differently, other locations, other sound stages. We had no scenes together except, the hand or, any kind of special effects, but we actually had no scenes together. So, but I did meet him one day. I don't know if I was in makeup. It was at the end of the day, and I was walking out, and Rhodes was there, and Arthur was there, and we ran into him. And a photographer happened to be there. So I have a couple pictures of that moment when we met, and that was the only time I ever met him.
Oh
yeah, you remember?
The one photo that has you with him in the Kong suit, and
yes.
Yeah, I remember that photo. It was like,
yeah. So,
I mean,
so that's the only time I ever met him until we went back to Japan in 2016. And then I actually met him, was formally introduced to him, and he and Rose and I did, I think that weekend we did 2 or 3 events together, the 3 of us. Yeah.
That must a good reunite after all these years.
Yes, because I didn't know when I made the film, and I didn't even know years and years later that the movie had a following, that there were people who really liked the movie. And so when we got together again, that's when I had the realization of, this is kind of special. The original Godzilla and Takarada, and both of them in the original Godzilla, and then Takarada, he did everything. He sang, danced, acted. He was a big talent. So I didn't know or realize all that until I saw them again in 2016.
Oh yeah, and I wish I would get to meet Haruo Nakajima, but I wish I really get to meet the original Godzilla, but sadly I never got the chance to meet him.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always
his daughter was
yeah, but
I'm sorry.
that's okay. I mean, but I will always remember him as the original Godzilla.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I so let's get back to the hand part. I mean, so the one scene
Okay.
the one scene when Kong holds you up, took you out of the submarine, and you just when your characters jump into the ocean, I remember what you said at your convention, that wasn't you jumping in.
Right. That wasn't me. That was on the back lot They had a big pool. I mean, it was huge, and the water in it was kind of dirty. And when I read the script, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to jump into that water. And they assured me that I didn't have to. So I was relieved, I thought, oh, good, So because, yeah, that wasn't me. That was a stunt lady.
Yeah, and yeah, I have a feeling that Toho Studios still have that big water pool to this day, I think.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. But it was big. It was gigantic. And, it wasn't that clean. The water wasn't that clean.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
well, somebody didn't put much chlorine in it.
Oh, yeah. There was no chlorine in that.
But and also, I would love to talk about this with you. I want to talk about
Okay.
the the great Eric Takarada. That
Yes.
I actually met him at G Fest in 2019, and that was the very last time we ever saw him to this G Fest. Yeah.
Well, he and I went to G-Fest in 2016. Remember we sat next to each other
Oh yeah.
in G-Fest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met him twice that year and the last time in 2019.
In 2019, uh, there was almost an opportunity for me to come to G-Fest at the same time. And I really wanted to because I knew he was we're all getting older, but I knew he was getting older and I knew his health was a little, questionable. And I wanted one more time for he and I to do a convention together. And we just couldn't make it work. So I've always felt a little bit sad that I wasn't able to do another convention with him, especially at G-Fest, because G-Fest, those are the real fans. You know what I mean? I mean, not that other fans aren't real, but that's where they tend to congregate, a lot of the fans at G-Fest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is a really great man. I mean, he did a great job playing his character in the film with you. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and in this film, that his character and your character are there like a love couple? I mean, because they
Yeah,
feels
I
like they
think
kind
so.
of are.
Yeah, it's very subtle. I didn't even realize it until after the movie was over. But yeah, they're kind of like they like each other. Yeah. Which was very risque back in 67 and inter not racial. Well, I guess it'd be interracial, because him being Japanese, me being American. But yeah, there was a little element of that in the film.
Yeah, and this was his first Kong film he's ever in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I don't remember that he actually went backstage when they're filming King Kong versus Godzilla. Like
Mm,
he actually went backstage for it in the year 1962 and where they're filming King Kong versus Godzilla.
hmm
Yeah, but he wasn't in that film, but he just went to visit the back lot.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, that's what I did one time when I was there. I visited the back lot, and on one of the sound stages, they were filming uh the jungle scene where you know, Doctor Who's men throw those like rockets full of gas and
Oh
Kong.
yeah.
I watched them actually film that. And
Wow.
excuse me, and all the trees were like little like this, and it was up on a platform. And if you got down and if you kind of looked eye level, it looked so real. They did an awesome job. So
Wow.
in between takes, I actually saw them film that particular scene.
Well, and I want to talk about the gas bomb scenes. I mean, I
Okay.
when they throw in the bomb, I mean, it kind of looks like they fill those up with either like baby powder or flour.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I was watching it, but I couldn't. I was far enough away from where the real action was happening to even see. I just was like mesmerized because I saw the helicopters lift Kong into the air and take him away.
Yeah, and it was just so a shame that Doctor Who shot that poor native man.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The guy on Mondo Island.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
yes, yes, Kong's mine now. And he just ended up shotting him. And what a villain.
yeah. Oh yeah, he played a real villain, but he wasn't like that in real life. He was
Oh yeah.
very, very entertaining, very nice guy.
Oh
In
yeah.
fact, everybody in the movie was really nice. Everybody got along together. Um, it was for me to have my very first experience. It couldn't have been any better as far as the people I worked with.
Yeah, and also the one scene when your character saw the native man got shot and he was before his death. I mean, for that scene when he's still alive, he since explain what happened, but they
Uh-huh.
overdubbed him in the English dub version. I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, but and they trim out the one part in that when you were handing him some water.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
See, I don't remember that scene that in that much detail like you.
Because I
So did
really
they cut that? Did they cut? I mean, was that in the Japanese version, but not the American?
well, I just watched the original Japanese version last week, so the one scene when you Air Takawada handed the native some water in the
Uh-huh.
Japanese cup, but they cut that scene out in the US version.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's so amazing. I watched both versions just to compare those two. Like
Right.
I just also the original Japanese version it only runs. I mean, I'm getting lost track. I mean, let me say. I mean, first the US version it only trims down 8 minutes
Uh-huh.
because they trim down some scenes and everything. And
Hmm.
yeah, that's what I did a research of. And
I see. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the Japanese version, to be honest, which I think I'm probably going to like better than the American version.
yeah, I can say I love the Japanese version better than the American. I mean,
Hmm.
but I mean that's a fair. I mean, I kind of like both versions.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean the English dub. I mean, I like the characters' voices, especially Doctor Who's voice, Paul Free,
Yes. Yes.
who is the Burgermeister himself from Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Paul Free's voice for Doctor Who, it kind of matches that villain.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah,
does. I think all the voices match except mine. I think mine does not
yeah,
match. Yeah.
yeah. I just wish they could leave your real voice in there. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
yeah, and also, yeah, I would like to talk about the Kong suit. I mean, it is. I know
Okay.
it's not the same suit from King Kong versus Godzilla. I mean, this one is from versus Godzilla. I guess I have the figure, and let's
Hmm.
say yeah, they have updated the suit. I mean, before so King Kong versus Godzilla suit, some fans said that suit looks awful. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the way it looks, and especially when the close up hand puppets,
Uh.
it's like kind of looks like the Cookie Monster up close. And yeah, we should call him we should call him Cookie Kong Monster. Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah,
See,
I
I
mean,
never saw any of the suits except just that one time when I accidentally ran into him at the studio. And other than that, I never really saw the suit.
yeah, and yeah, and for the suit in this one, it looks so much better.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of give it a little cartoonish look into it. Yeah, because of the eyes
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
that. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah, that's the difference between my King Kong and many of the others I've seen. He is more cartoonish in a nice way, and he's nicer, and he has a heart. And in some of the other ones, he's just like a monster, Except I haven't seen them all, but Skull Island I saw, and I thought his character was more similar to my Kong.
oh yeah, because it said he in Skull Island he's kind of look more serious looking.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so
But he liked the girl, and he was a good guy to the girl.
oh yeah, and Kong in this film, his personality and he's not like the original Kong. He just throw his temper, but he's just
Yeah.
this film. He's kind of a very kind kaiju
Yes.
Kong.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
I mean he doesn't
I
do
mean, if
like he
I'm sorry.
doesn't. That's okay. He doesn't do like angry face expressions and and all that. And yeah, it's like he's kind of like a nice Kong in this film.
He,
And
he was he was kinder, unless you messed with him. But
yeah,
he was kinder.
yeah, it's that way he picks a fight with Gorosaurus.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the sea serpent. Yeah. And also what I heard they actually used two suits for this film. Like
Oh, okay.
I think it was 2 or 3 suits, I think, but I remember they used the one suit they used for the water scenes. They
Okay.
yeah, when they had they replaced the head with a different mask head, and I don't know if you remember, but if you look
Uh-uh.
back to it, you could tell the difference when Kong is entering the water, and especially when he throws a giant boulder onto the sea serpent, you get to tell
Yeah.
that the head looks different.
Oh. Well, why did they do that?
I know because for the scene when, but I don't remember. But what I heard is like when Kong is about to enter in the water to fight the sea serpents. I think
Uh-huh.
they use a different suit for that. I think they reused the same suit from King Kong versus Godzilla. It's that they
But
replaced the head.
I wonder why. There must
Well,
be a reason for.
well, I think I know why because they just built the original suit for the film, but and and they don't want to use that new suit for water scenes because once they use
Oh,
new suits for water scenes, it could slowly damage these new
oh,
suits.
okay.
I
Okay.
think that's why they had to reuse the same old suits from their previous Kong film. So yeah, I think this was the same suit for King Kong versus Godzilla for the water scene
Okay.
because remember at first like what so in King Kong versus Godzilla, I mean, when they were filming this, the last filming they last shot at was for the water scene when Kong was in the water after they explode the raft, and
Mhm.
I think they actually filmed this their last day of filming
Mhm.
because before that they kind of want to they don't want the suits to get wet. They kind of
Mm.
want to film the water scenes at the end of
Right.
shooting.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, so yeah, so I like, and I gotta say that some people said that King Kong Escapes is a sequel to King Kong versus Godzilla, but it's not true.
Mm.
But it yeah, I even to me, I thought this was a sequel to King Kong versus Godzilla, but no, it's not. It's actually a reboot, uh, a Japanese reboot version of the original 1933 King Kong.
It has similarities, yeah. Yeah.
And also,
But
like,
I didn't know that.
yeah, I did not know that either until I did some research. And
Mhm.
and also, this was also Gorosaurus' very first appearance in a Toho film, because I mean, yeah, this was Gorosaurus' first film he's in before he made his other appearance in Godzilla films. I
Mm.
I know his second appearance was in Destroy All Monsters, and they used some stock footage of him in All Monsters Attack. They used the scene from before Kong fights him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is Destroy All Monsters, is that the one with Nick Adams?
Oh, no, that's in Invasion of Astro Monster.
Okay, okay. Because I was watching TV the other day and they had a marathon on Godzilla. And so I hadn't watched very many Godzilla movies, so I caught the one with Nick Adams in it, which I thought was actually kind of a cool movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad in the English sub. It's too bad they didn't overdubbed him in the English dub version.
Oh
It
yeah,
just
well, he had a union contract.
yeah, and so yeah, what I heard about Gorosaurus, I mean, they actually when they took the idea, they actually remodeled him. They actually took from the same model from the original Meat Eater, aka the
Mhm.
T-Rex from the original King Kong film. I mean,
Uh-huh.
if you watch back the original King Kong film for the T-Rex scene, and
Mhm.
you compare it to Gorosaurus, you could tell they actually almost look alike because of the
Oh.
head. And
Mhm.
yeah, and it's yeah, and when I watched this fight scene of Confined Gorosaurus, I mean, it's when Kong is punching him and Gorosaurus' mouth is open, and he's just when he's punching him
Yeah.
before the jaw rips. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
that scene kind of reminds me of one of the Disney World character costume design style to it, because when Gorosaurus' mouth is open, every time he
Mhm.
gets punched, I can see his little cute little tongues like moving up and
Yeah.
down. Like, it kind of
Yeah.
reminds me like the Pluto costume from the Disney World when you meet and greet with the
Mhm.
characters. Kind of reminds me a
Mhm.
little bit of that.
I see. Okay.
And also, and I'm just amazed at what it got me confused of when Kong ripping his Gorsus' jaw open, there are bubbles.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But
He
but
was
they
foaming at the mouth.
yeah, but
Yeah.
too bad they couldn't just use blood. I mean, it's just like they did in the original. I mean, I think the reason why they couldn't do it because it might be too gross and violent for.
I don't know. When Doctor Who dies, he's got blood coming out of his mouth.
Oh yeah, that's part too. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you know that uh, this film is actually based on the kids film called
Uh-huh.
King Kong. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
inspired by
that's
the
what I heard. Yeah.
yeah, I have never seen the TV version of it, but maybe I'll
Mhm.
give it a watch someday. Yeah.
Well, I was when Rankin and Bass were doing their Rudolph and the Santa Claus stuff, uh oh, somebody's phone's ringing. Anyway, when they were doing that, oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, I was living in Japan, so I didn't know who Arthur was. I didn't know who Rankin Bass were, so there was this whole history that I was completely oblivious to. So, because I never saw them because we were living in Japan, so we didn't get American TV like that.
Oh yeah, I mean, mm, Yeah, and I didn't even know Rick and Bass did their TV show of King Kong, and
Yeah.
like I mean, uh, and this like why have let me talk about a little bit of history. I mean, when
Okay.
Toho bought the rights to Kong from RKO, the original company who who did the original. I mean, right after the successful of King Kong versus Godzilla, I mean, they were planning to make a sequel of it, but it never happened. And
Uh-huh.
they have other ideas to make another Godzilla film. Like they want to make Godzilla versus Frankenstein as
Ooh,
like the
that's funny.
yeah, I mean, I'm talking about the Frankenstein from Frankenstein versus Baragon,
Oh,
aka
oh, oh,
Frankenstein
oh.
conquers the world. But sadly, that those ideas were kind of scratched. I heard,
Okay.
but like when Rankin Bass after they did the TV show, I mean, they were having an idea for a movie, but that was before they come up with King Kong Escapes. But the original idea was they have come up with a movie, and the original movie title it was called "And Everyone Noticed." So that it's the title was called Robinson Crusoe's King Kong versus Ebra, with
Oh, wow.
yeah, was also known as Ebra Horror the Deep. And people know that Ebra Horror the Deep was supposed to be a Kong film, but know that
Hmm.
what yeah, the story plot was they have Kong start in this film to this the story plot is that they have some survivors traveling on an island and they found the red bamboo space and they kidnapped the natives and they actually found Kong sleeping in a cave and then they woke him up by lightning just like in King Kong versus Godzilla and they have Kong find Ebera and to save the natives and Kong was amazed by Dio that's Kamimizumi's character.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what the whole idea plot is gonna go. And they also have Kong introduce Mothra. They have that'll be Kong's first film with Mothra. But sadly, that Arthur and the others didn't like that idea of have Kong being in this film because the story plot doesn't even fit with the TV series.
Mm,
Yeah, so Rankin Bass kind of replaced Kong with Godzilla in this one. So,
mm.
but then they totally come up with another idea that we all know today is King Kong Escapes, and
Yep.
but that wasn't for the original title, but the original Japanese title was called King Kong's Counterattack.
Well, yeah, is King Kong no Gyakushu? Gyakushu means like revenge, from what I understand. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So, oh, I was gonna say I don't have my phone, but I'm on my phone. uh, but yeah, that's what they told me at the time is that it meant revenge. Well, now maybe it means, you know, sometimes it's not just one word describes it, but several. But yeah, if you looked it up, it'd probably tell you. But it's Gyakushu, Gya Kusu, Gyakushu, I believe is how you would spell it.
oh,
Gyakushu.
yeah, and also like I want to talk about like the mechanikong. I mean, when I saw this film for the first time, I mean, I didn't know they made Mecha Kong. I mean, because before I discovered him, I know I discovered Mecha Godzilla. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I didn't know they make a mecha version of Kong, but
Yep,
yeah,
they
but
did.
yeah, that was way before Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla was released a
Uh-huh.
few years before, and I noticed, I mean, in the film, the original Japanese, they call him Mechanikong.
Yes, yeah, and that's one thing I noticed when I started going to conventions. Everybody was talking about Mecha I said, "Who's that?" They said, "Well, and I went, "Oh, Mechanicong." See, that's what we called him when we were doing the film. Was he was Mechanicong?
Yeah, but I think people back then when this film was released, they didn't even know what the word mecha means.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the English dub, they call him Robot Kong. Or
Robot. Mm.
yeah, but for Doctor Who, he calls him My Kong.
Yeah.
He- Yeah, and
Doctor Who was a great character.
yeah, I like his character, and then
Me too.
I
Me
mean
too.
he didn't just build Mechanikong just to fight King Kong. He only built him to dig out the element X.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Element X.
uh, I mean, I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, they only Doctor Who just want the element X to build new weapons. I think that's what they said. Or
He wanted to control the whole world, and if he had this element X, I guess, is what he needed to do whatever he was going to do to control the whole world.
yeah, yeah, and then I like the part when the element X has they made Mechanicong malfunction, and what I noticed that in the original covers, and they said the Mechanicon was shut down due to the magnetic force of the element X, but in the
Right.
dub, they said it was done by the magnetic mass.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, when we got our scripts, they of course were in English, but some of the words were like direct translation, Japanese to English, which made no sense. Like there was a couple places where Rhodes actually changed the dialogue so that would sound like an American said it and not somebody who spoke Japanese and was translating it. So
Yeah,
there were a couple of things like that in the script that Rhodes changed.
yeah. I mean, uh, so yeah. I mean, like, is well, we're almost about out of time. It's almost an hour. I mean, right
Yeah.
before we wrap this up, I mean, I want to talk about. I want to talk back to the King Kong suit. I mean, I know this. But first, let me. Uh, After they made King Kong Escapes, I mean, the King Kong licenses for Toho was almost expired, but
Uh-huh.
like right after this film, I mean, they were gonna have Kong to be in Destroy All Monsters, but sadly, the licenses are almost expired.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, because they only have the licenses for 5 or 10 years, I think that said.
Okay.
But I don't remember. But they did reuse the same suit from Escape. I mean, in a Toho TV show called Green Man. I think that's
Okay.
what it says,
Hmm.
and they rename him Gorilla. Yeah, I look I look back some old photos of that. I mean, the King Kong suit in that one looks like it's overwhelmed. It's starting to look like it's falling apart. I think
Probably was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was the very last time they used that suit. And I mean, if you watch that show, if you we do research of clips, I mean,
Hmm.
if you watch the one scene was that when they're the fight scene, you could tell that the arms were swinging around. It's almost useless.
Oh, well, they wanted
Yeah.
to get their money's worth out of it, I guess.
Hey, so yeah, like is so yeah. Is there anything? Is there any thoughts you want to say something before we start wrapping
Um,
this up?
well, I'm going to be at G Fest this year, so I hope to. I
Whoa!
don't know if that's a. I signed a contract, but I don't know if they are announcing yet. But yeah, I'll be at G Fest this year, and so I just hope that all the fans will come out because, with COVID and all the restrictions we had for the last couple of years, it'd be great to see all the fans again. So I hope everybody shows up.
Well, that is a very surprise. I mean, and I'm really looking forward to see you again. And I'm going to G
Yes,
Fest too. And
good, good.
yeah, I'll be looking forward to see you there. And Yeah, this
We'll
is
take another photo together, all right?
yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing you again, and I want to say that thank you so much for being in this very special episode with me. And I've been planning this for a month, and so right after I did my last Shona Godzilla podcast episode, and I've been really looking forward to doing this episode with you. And
Well, I look forward to it too. I'm glad we had a chance to talk again.
yeah, and I'm glad we got to meet at Chifas for the first time back then. You were so nice, and
Oh,
you were
thank you.
awesome, and I'm really looking forward to see you again at G-Fest this year. And
Okay.
so yeah, and well, folks, that is my very first Kong film podcast episode, and hope you all enjoying this. And I will see you all in the next live stream video. So thank you all for watching, and I'm saying this in Japanese. Sayonara.